Also, remember to use the tweener as much as you can. You can, of course, use new poses or to just straight go and use your like, for example, if I want to create a new pose, let's say if I'm here anywhere, if I'm here and I want to create a new pose, I can just work and directly start to pose it like that, for example. But if I know that I'm going somewhere, that's the good thing of working hierarchically. If I know that I'm going to the next pose, try to always start your new poses by working with the tweener, because that's a way to make sure that you're going in the right direction. You can, for example, use the tweener for one part of the body, as we were doing before, but others for doing something different, right? But it's also always like a very good approach to start just, like trying to understand which parts of the body they don't really need to go out of the path that you are already creating. Because if you have two poses, you have something in the middle has to happen definitely, right? So if some parts of the body are starting to, let's say, you start to pose them favoring one extreme or the other extreme, it's good, right? So tweener is a good thing to have. It's a good thing to use many times. So in key poses, we're basically doing any kind of pose or technique that is going to help us to create that sensation of aliveness, of flow, organicity, of selling our ideas or emotions. So for that, we may do ease-ins or ease-outs. We may do chorus, accents, maybe some, for example, some overshoots. All of them, they're already here, okay? It's not that I'm looking for all of them. I'm just using some of them depending on what I want to do. The thing is that I'm still trying to stay simple, okay? I only create a key pose if I see if it's necessary. If I'm overcomplicating it too much, I cut it, okay? Or I don't, if I see that with one less pose is still working and giving me that impression, I remove that pose, really. If we don't need it, we don't need it. But if I would have to highlight one of those, is definitely curves. You should start to pay attention to curves, to what is happening in this part of the animation. So for example, in this movement that the character is going up,
you're not even using,
I'm paying attention to what already my head is drawing, and he's doing a curve here. You can see that he's doing a kind of curve like that. So even if it's just three poses, you can always start to track them and make sure that you are starting to use to create like good arcs. So you can use any of the techniques of the 12 principles that you have, but if there is one that I would definitely pay more attention is to curves. Try to also work and on the idea that one at a time. If you know that you are in a section of the dialogue and you are working with an idea, try to stick to that idea. Try to make sure that idea is visible and is understood, and that it doesn't fight anything else. So for example, I had the idea of the leg, right?
And
where is it?
Of Colin Firth. How do I begin?
Well, this is actually how many poses I did at the end? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But we can say that 5 is more like a ease in. So I use like 4 poses, 4 key poses, trying to see if I can get the idea credible enough and in a way that they can understand and that it feels good enough or cool enough to be bought or to be taken, right? I started like maybe having like 3 poses, but I still wasn't feeling that way. And then I created a 4th one and was like, oh, okay, it's defined enough so it can be understood. So make sure that when you know that you're working on an idea, to really go for it. Try to define it as much as you can, but with that balance, okay? You don't want to overdo it. You don't want to make it too much. And definitely you don't want that idea to be fighting with another idea. Okay, so one idea at a time if possible. If you have two ideas happening in the same section, make sure that they are not fighting. Okay, that they're not fighting. And if you have, and if they're fighting, my friend, just remove it. It's okay. Sometimes we get too attached to our ideas, and it's better to simplify and to than to have like a lot of things happening at the same time. So again, start with one idea, make that idea to work very clearly, and if that idea works very clearly, see if you can manage to work with that second idea that you have. If you have a second idea, if you don't have a second idea, it's okay. But if you have a second idea, don't work on that second idea before making sure that that first idea works good and is clear and is well defined. And then you work with that second idea, okay? Because sometimes what happens is the animators, they have like two ideas and they leave those two ideas. None of them are very well clearly defined, and you can see that they are fighting. So one idea at a time, making sure that they work good enough clearly and they are powerful and direct, okay? And you can also apply the success rule to make sure that everything is telling what it has to tell. Okay, so it's very important also that as we approach more or less a decent good amount where we are starting to feel good with this path of flow, to feel your body, to feel how you feel, to feel if
It isn't just art.
do you feel that the character is alive? Do you feel it? Like, do you believe it? And this is also a very good question to ask to your colleagues or to your friends or leads. Maybe not somebody that has like the power to change your animation. You just want to get the sense that the character is alive and either starts to move cool, let's say, or organic, believably, okay? So after or before going into rounds or something, it's a very good idea to take a very good break. Go home, not doing anything else, nothing related, and try to look at this with the best fresh eyes that you can, and see if you feel the flow, if you feel that unity, that integration, if you feel that organic feeling or that freshness going on. You can already in that stage, and in this stage, you can definitely start to feel that.
How to do impressions. I think the first thing to know is that it doesn't just start automatically. You can't just leap in there and do De Niro or walk in. So let's say I wanted to do an impression.
To me, this is something I took like a couple of days to look at this, and it felt good. That's good. Maybe after you do that, you feel that you need to do some changes, some tweaks, timing wise, pose wise, do it so. But try to feel it in your body, to feel that it's alive. It feels good. Okay. And again, you can always use the feedback of somebody else that you are trusted or that is trusted to you to ask the question, how does it feel? Do you feel that it's alive? Does it feel cool? And many of this is because also we have created that nice balance of pushing creativity and realistic movements, tiny little movements here and there that are supported by what we hear, those strikes that we had before, right? Like, for example,
and then once he's in there,
this part here, when we do this everything with the hands, it's going to be very cartoony, and then we have those movements that are subtle, highly supported with what we hear, like head movements and body movements are very in the right frame. So it feels a little bit more realistic, for example. Let's look at that.
And sort of ease him in. And then once he's in there, and you begin to not even you're not even using.
And then at the end, it gets cartoony a little bit again, right? So it's a little bit of both. We have a little bit of in the realistic side, and then something that goes to the cartoony. It's keeping that kind of dance, right, in between those two walls. So it gets funny and believable, or it gets funny and to push, and then believable and more realistic. That's part of it.